Okay, and on to the last reading of this, last test of this book, passage 1, Megafires of California. So what have we got? Okay, very nice. I love it when I see this sort of thing, and then maybe not so great, but we can still get lots of marks here. First goal is to try and get 6 out of 6 for this. So what are you going to do? We can look at the grammar quickly. Something more unpredictably. This is very unusual, actually. What do you think should go there? This is an adverb, so we need that is describing this. So that means that we actually need a verb here, which is quite unusual for these gap fills. Something greater on average than 2 decades ago. Not quite sure. It could be a number, maybe 50% or something like that. It's an odd one. Something average, that is a noun, the average. So that's going to be an adjective. Act as something, you act as a noun, so that's a noun. Extended fire, noun. These are both operating as adjectives. Building of, noun. So nothing really, just that was a verb. That was the only thing that stands out. I might have a number here. And otherwise, okay, so this is an adjective. And noun, and these won't be single nouns, they'll be uncountables or plurals. Alright, so a little bit of help from the grammar. Right, now we're going to find where everything comes from. So let's just try and look at all of these keywords. You're going to look for that sort of thing. Anything else? Unpredictably, maybe. I like that, definitely. I always like the times and the decades, because even though they will paraphrase it, you will understand the paraphrase. Right, then rainfall, brush, temperature, yearly as well I like, because maybe they'll say annual. Extended building, often they just say construction for building. Right, so let's go ahead and try and scan for some of those things. It'll be probably at the beginning. Immediately what I see, you should just scan quite quickly, but what I saw immediately was that 20 years ago. And that is, of course, 2 decades ago. So let's do that one. I think that one is where it is. Size of fires is something greater on average than 2 decades ago. The size of the fires is 10 times the size of the average forest fire of 22 decades ago. So I think it's quite straightforward. That's your answer over there. There's size, the keyword that we were looking for. We just need to check that we can have a number and a word. Yes, one word and or a number, so 10 times, no problem. Great, so then let's go back and do this one. The movements, a verb more unpredictably. We can just try and find these. They might help us. A current, speed, temperature. It'll be somewhere up here. Can you see speed and temperature? It's actually all quite close together. There's temperature. There's speed, and more erratically than in the past. More erratically, more unpredictably. They are synonyms. Maybe you didn't know what erratically means, but I think you can guess. Because we saw temperature, we saw speed, and then we saw that one. Where's the verb there that we're looking for? Quite straightforward. Before more, spread. Alright, let's go on. Rainfall, brush, yearly temperature, building. Now the really important thing that I want you to look at here is linking language. Before we go on, maybe pause the video and take a look at the linking language in those 2 paragraphs. Highlight the linking language. One explanation, another reason. So there's 2 points that they're making in this paragraph. 3 other factors. First, second, and third. So I just want you to notice how there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points, and in the table 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. And this is quite common with these point form tables where they've done note taking and put it in a table or in note taking form. Is that very often the linking language shows you the points that are made in the text, and then IELTS will follow that structure in the table, 1.1.1 point. We saw it quite recently actually with autumn leaves. I'm just going to quickly show you autumn leaves to remind you. Remember, in autumn leaves we had this summary, again note-taking form of the light screen hypothesis. Then it was based on this paragraph over there, and the linking language, there were 4 points as well. 1, 2. The linking language was a bit more difficult in this one. It wasn't first, second, third, but this finally gave you a clue, gave you an idea that they're talking about points. So there were 1, 2, 3, 4, and then in the notes 1, 2, 3, 4, and they took one answer from each one of those 4 points. So the linking language gave you the structure, and they've done exactly the same thing. Linking language 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3. So if you saw that, it really helped you, because there was some difficult vocabulary here, so you needed to know where to look. The rainfall was something average, so we're going to be looking in here. The region usually has dry summers, which is low rainfall, has had significantly below normal precipitation in recent years. You don't know that word probably. It's a very good word to learn. It's a very scientific word for rainfall, rain and snow and any water that falls. So where's the synonym for average? There's the synonym for average. What's the word that we're looking for? Adjective, below. So because we knew where to look, because the linking language told us where to look, we could find the synonym for average, and we could be quite sure that that meant precipitation, even though we don't know that word. The linking language gave us the clue that somewhere in here is that answer. So the next answer is somewhere, it's a bit difficult, somewhere in there. More brush to act as something. So where's brush? Brush is over there. Underbrush and brush, it's pretty much the same. And so then we're looking at that sentence. The consequence has been to halt the eradication of underbrush, now the primary fuel for megafires. We want a noun, act as something. So what are the nouns in that? Consequence is a noun, but that's not going to be the answer. Eradication is a noun, that's not going to be the answer. Fuel is a noun, and that's definitely going to be the answer. Megafires is a noun, but megafires is there. It will never be an answer. So even if you didn't understand what brush is and didn't understand half of the English, the linking language gave it to us, the keyword gave it to us, and the grammar gave it to us. It could only be that one. So the brush acted as fuel. Uncountable noun. Great. Extended fire. What does extended mean? Remember, you need to know extended and expanded. Generally speaking, extended means longer, expanded means bigger. Extended fire something. It will be plural or uncountable, and we're going to go over here, but be careful, we're not going to go there, because that one is that increase in yearly temperature. There they're talking about temperature. Second is fire seasons that are 78 days longer than they were 20 years ago. 78 days longer is the extended. So what are extended? Where's the noun? The seasons. We know that we're looking for a countable or a plural. So the seasons are longer. Definitely the grammar gave us that, and the linking language told us exactly where to look. More building of something in vulnerable places. Quite straightforward, this one. Building, construction of homes. Again, the linking language gave us the sentence. So, homes. Right, a very nice table, and I like it specifically because it gives me the opportunity to show you about the importance of linking language. Right, I think you can get 6 out of 6 there. Let's move on to the true, false, not given. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 true, false, not givens. Right, how should we start? I think let's just see, maybe we can find where a few things come from. I see a name over there, which I always like to see. Let's look at a few keywords. We can look at the target language after that. one good reason for doing all the keywords first is because it helps you with the not givens, because you know where more or less you're looking for each question, and so you don't spend so much time looking everywhere for a not given that just isn't there. So let's try and find all of them, at least where they come from. Experts, maybe open space we could also look at. Progress, fires, personnel, mishandling, fire containment. This is all about fire. I wouldn't say so. Firefighting tools. This is quite a general word. Maybe they'll give examples of the tools. Firefighting capacity. I don't want to really do any words that have the word fire in them because they're going to be everywhere. Citizens and government groups, they can paraphrase. States and agencies, Randy Jacobs. I think that's enough. So maybe pause the video and go and find more or less where all of them are. Open space and last 10 years. I like last 10 years. We're going to start over here probably. And I see open space over there. And I see decade over there. Great. So that's there. What's next? Actually, I'm just going to split the screen so I don't have to scroll up and down. What's next? Experts, progress, fight, fire, readying itself, scan, scan, scan. Many experts is there. Next, personnel have been criticized for mishandling fire containment. Personnel is there. California, a range of firefighting tools. Engines, planes and helicopters might be the tools. I don't know. Equipment is tools. Anyway, let's move on. More firefighters have been hired. Firefighters. Fire engines. I don't see it. Maybe it's there. Randy Jacobs is there. Oh, I skipped one. There's Randy Jacobs. Citizens and government groups, states and agencies. So from that one, you go to Randy Jacobs and scan backwards. So there's government officials and residents, citizens and government groups. States and states. States is there. States and jurisdictions must be states and agencies. So that one's there. So I can't find that one, and I think this one is over here. These tools are here. Great, so there's a not given in there somewhere. Right, I think that's enough. So, target language. The amount of open space has diminished over the last 10 years. Diminished means decreased. Has it increased or decreased? That's all we need to find out. So you can see keyword there and keyword there, so we should read all of these two sentences. Population growth has averaged, so the population has grown by that. For a decade, more housing is being built. What once was open space is now residential homes. So that means there was open space, but now there is homes. That means that the open space has decreased, has diminished. That's definitely true. Many experts believe, there's many experts, California has made little progress. There's our target language. Has it made a lot of progress, or has it made little progress or no progress? In readying to fight itself, the experts give California high marks for making progress. Progress is also another good keyword there. They give it high marks for making progress on preparedness. Progress, readying itself to fight fires, preparedness. So they give it high marks. That's positive. We like high marks. Little progress is negative. So this is false. It's not little progress. They've given it a high mark, so they have made a lot of progress. False. Personnel in the past have been criticized for mishandling fire containment. Difficult to see the target language. It's one of these, have they been criticized or have they not? It's one of those where it's on the verb, not such clear target language. Have they been criticized? And it's a very different one, difficult one. Here's the past. Stung in the past by criticism of bungling, blah, 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 blah. Personnel are meeting the particular challenges. So this stung refers to the personnel. And what that word means, it's like a bee or a wasp will sting you. The past tense of that is stung. So the criticism stung the personnel. So that means that they have been criticized. So that was our target language. Have they or have they not been criticized? Maybe you needed to know that word, but you could have kind of guessed it from that. Quite a difficult sentence structure though, because you needed to know that all of this is talking about the personnel. Anyway, the personnel were hurt, they were stung by the criticism, so that would be true. Right, have they replaced a range of firefighting tools? This one I'm going to leave because I can't really find it over here. Firefighters have been hired to improve. I can't really find it yet. We'll find it later. Citizens and government groups disapprove of the efforts of the different states. Do they approve? Do they like it? Or do they disapprove? They don't like it. There is a sense that the speed, dedication, coordination from several states are resulting in greater efficiency. Greater efficiency. That's a positive thing. This says they think it's negative. So this says that these government officials and residents, they feel positive. But this says they feel negative. So the target language disagrees, is opposite of what this is saying. So it's false. He believes the loss of life will continue at the same levels. I think that's probably the target language, at the same levels or lower levels or higher levels. And we will no longer suffer the loss of life endured in the past. So that means we will not have loss of life. I think loss of life is important scanning language. We will not have the loss of life. So it's not the same. So that means, again, that is false. Right, so what have we got here? If you need to guess, I mean, we've got 2 trues, 3 falses, and 2 we don't know. You could just go not given, not given. One of them would be right. This is actually a strange one, but if you've got some time, it's worth it. It's reading one, so focus in on it. This one's quite difficult. The firefighting tools they didn't mention, they say. There's the firefighting tools. Engines, planes and helicopters to fight fires. The promises to provide more up to date have been fulfilled. So that means they kept their promise. They promised to provide new equipment, and they did provide new equipment. That means that they have replaced it. Where's California? California is this state. It's the states of the United States of America. California is one of the states. So that's a very difficult one, but that's the target language. And have they replaced it? Yes, they have. You could be forgiven for getting that one wrong. It's quite a tricky one. Now, of course, this one must be not given because there's no other not givens. It's very strange, this one. Out of 7, they only had 1 not given, which is quite unusual. I would expect 2, 2, 3. Anyway, so you don't even need to waste time looking for that. It's not there, and that would be not given. Okay, a little bit tricky. You could maybe get 5 out of 7 there, and with a bit of luck you could get 7 out of 7. I think these 2 were the tricky ones, but you leave them until last if you can see where these come from. Then go and do those first. Great, that's the end of that. Let's move on to reading 2.